Cloud. Well, in 1991, my father told me to go try out for, I was living in Tarpon Springs, Florida. My father told me, go try out for this game show. And I went, what game show? Because I didn't even watch TV. I was waitressing and substitute teaching in Florida. And he said, it's called American Gladiators. Okay, I'll go try out. And I had binged and purged the night before, so my energy level was down. I went to tryouts. There was over 3,000 people that tried out. I was one of 12 people to be picked. And, you know, I went through the whole thing. This was in January. Not till May did I get a phone call. I was waitress at Red Lobster. I'm working the lunch shift. I get a phone call, and I went, nobody ever calls me at work. Who's calling me at work? And he goes, is this Jill Shank? I said, yes, it is. He goes, this is Larry Zonka from American Gladiators. Wow. Pack your bags. We're flying you to California. I'm like, I'm going to California. I'm going to California. Because if you're from Ohio and Florida, most people think California is going to have an earthquake and fall into the ocean. That's just what they, oh, don't go to California. There's earthquakes out there. But here's the thing. I knew when I was getting on that plane that I was either going to come out here and get clean and sober for the last time, or I was going to come out here and successfully end my life and go back in a body bag. Because that was the way I thought, all or nothing. I'm going to get this or I'm not. And I came out here. I lost by 4 seconds in the eliminator. I went to the restaurant where all the people in AA hung out. I didn't see anybody I knew. And I went and got one beer. And then I went and got a 12-pack. And then I started binging and purging the next day. I came to, I was hungover. And thank God someone from AA called me immediately the next day and said, how'd you do? See, here's the problem that I had back then. I had 12 tickets to give to people. All my family was in Florida. I had nobody out here. So I gave tickets to people in AA. And I said, oh, if you have other plans, don't worry about it. Honey, now if I was going on that show, I'd say, I need you to be there and support me and cheer for me. But my self-esteem was so low that I went, you know what, if you have something else to do, I understand. And I relapsed, and thank God somebody came to the next morning and said, how'd you do? And I said, I lost. He goes, and I said, I'm hungover. He said, let's go. You're going to a meeting with me. And so literally, I walked, biked, and hitchhiked the streets of LA saying, I'll drink at the next bar, I'll drink at the next bar, I'll drink at the next bar, and then I went to a meeting. I'll drink at the next bar, I'll drink at the next bar, and then I went to a meeting. I found a room to rent. I eventually went back to get my car, came here. My father said, you don't want to ever be a teacher, you know, there's no money in it. I came out here, got my teacher credential. I love teaching. I taught in Malibu for 3 years. I taught a lot of movie stars kids and talk about being starstruck from Ohio, and here I am with like Nick Nolte and Mel Gibson. I'm like, you know, it's just crazy that this small town girl from Ohio is out here. And I could always say it's because of Alcoholics Anonymous. That if I did not have AA, there's not a doubt in my mind I would be 6 feet under. You know, I drank away those scholarships, and I lost a lot of relationships and ruined a lot of things. But in 1997, I played women's professional baseball. In 2000, I played women's professional football. I was on American Gladiators. I've done a lot of things. I've been to 28 countries in all 7 continents. But I tell you what makes my heart smile the most is when I take somebody through the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and they get it. And they get it and they stay. Because the reality of this disease is not too many of us make it. I've seen a lot of people die going back out there thinking that they could just relapse one more time. And there is not a doubt in my mind I have another relapse in me. Not a doubt. But I know for sure I do not have another recovery in me. It is too hard those first 3 days. The 3-day thing, I did the 3-day walls for a long time. 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, drink. And then I go a little longer. And then I had to, you know, my favorite number is 11. So I'll wait till November 11th, 11/11, to get sober. So that would be my sobriety date. And so I go all the way November 11th. I'd stay sober. And then something would happen and I'd get drunk. Oh, we got to wait all the way to November 11th. No. It is truly just for today. And finally I said, well, what if I just say today is November 11th? Every day is my favorite day. Every day is a new day. Anybody who walks through the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I believe we are God's chosen people because we get to live 2 lifetimes in 1 lifetime. I am no longer the falling down drunk who eats and throws up and tries to commit suicide and burns herself and punches walls and just plays these games with people. I would play with these games in meetings. I'd come late and I'd leave early because I wanted to see if any of you guys would chase after me. See if any of you guys cared. Because I hated myself so much that I needed to think that you liked me and you cared about me. Because I didn't want to live and I hated myself. The interesting thing is, I came here and I arrived here with myself, who was my worst enemy. I despised myself. And through working the steps and many tears, swimming pool full of tears, I have become my own best friend today. And it's interesting because I don't know if you guys have ever been on a blind date. Well, back in the olden days, they didn't have cell phones to get out of it. You know, you just had to suffer through it, okay? So here you are on a blind date. You can't say, oh, call me at this time to see how it's going. Let me get out. No, you were there. And if they have bad breath and you don't like them and you're looking at the clock going, when is this going to be over? Well, 2 minutes feels like 2 hours. But if you're with someone you enjoy, 2 hours feels like 2 minutes. So imagine being in my own skin, hating myself. It just seemed like the days were just linger on and drag on and what do I do? And oh, this sucks. And now I wake up and I see my own best friend. And it's pretty cool to go everywhere with your best friend. And sometimes, I don't know if I learned it in the rooms or just learned it by hearing somebody in here because everything I say, I've heard somebody else say before. And somebody told me one time, why are you so hard on yourself? And I go, what do you mean? You guys did not learn how to walk the very first time you tried. You didn't get up and go, woohoo, and did, break a move and, bust a move. No, you took a step and fell down. And everybody said, that's okay, good job, good job. Then you took 2 steps and fell down. Good job, keep going, keep going. Well, I don't know about you. When I first came here, I could only stay sober for like 3 days. And then you guys said, keep coming back, keep coming back. And then the next time I stayed sober 5 days. Keep coming back, keep coming back. There was no way I could comprehend being sober for 25 years. I still can't comprehend that. I mean, if I was new and I walked in this room and I heard somebody say they were sober for 25 years, I'd say, they're not including the weekends, right? Weekends you get a free pass. No, I live every day as if it is a holiday. Every day is Christmas for me. I never went to the Super Bowl or I never, went to the Olympics, but I tell you, anytime an alcoholic does not pick up a drink, we get the gold medal. We win the gold. We win the Super Bowl. Anytime we make it through a day, it is not natural for me to be sober. I loved being drunk. See, the reason I drank is because I hated myself so much that it relieved me from the bondage of self. So why do meetings work? Meetings work because if we're listening and put away the cell phones, because I've seen meetings where I could tell people are texting back and forth in a meeting. Okay? Put away the damn cell phones. This is my church. Respect this holy ground. And I see people with the cell phones going back and forth. It's like, The reason meetings work is because if we listen and can actually listen to somebody share, we're relieved from the bondage of self for 3 to 5 minutes if we actually hear the person share. But if you're anything like I am, when somebody shares and you say something, sometimes I go off and I'm doing my laundry list. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, okay, I'm in a meeting. Let me focus. I teach high school. I could say, what did I just say? I don't know. I don't know. They're looking at me and shaking their head. Yeah. What did I just say? Paying the best gift you could give anybody is the gift of your attention. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. But that means I need to take care of the physical. Because I don't know about you, they say hungry, angry, lonely, tired. I think we need to add sick and bored. Because when I was bored in my early sobriety, I didn't know what to do with all this extra time because I was drunk. And so I'm going to say the morning and evening news for your physical. News, N-E-W-S. N, nutrition. I need to make sure I'm eating. And most alcoholics I know are hypoglycemic. They need to eat like every 3 hours. E, exercise. I need to make sure I'm moving my body. The best exercise you could do is walk. Just go for a walk. W, water. Am I drinking at least half of my body weight in ounces in the day? And most importantly, the S is sleep. Am I getting 8 hours of sleep a night or 6 to 8 hours? Most people are so much on their phones and playing games, video games, that they don't turn off the phone. I need to be a responsible adult, even though I really don't want to grow up, and I don't want to ever grow up. I really don't. I want to be a responsible kid. I just want to be a responsible kid, forget about being an adult. I don't like most adults, so I just want to be a responsible kid. And I realize that the AM is Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and the PM is prayer and meditation. That's the taking care of the physical. And it's interesting because this program is all about change. And you hear that in here. What's change? Change is constantly having adjustments, needing God every day. And if you don't believe in God, gratitude. Because a grateful person will not pick up a drink. And if you're having an issue with God, I have some ideas for you. G-O-D. Good orderly direction. G-O-D. Group of drunks. G-O-D. Gift of desperation. Gratitude or death. Good old dad. The great outdoors. There's plenty of things I could use, and if you don't want to use any of those, use the thing that gives us the most unconditional love and is loyal. It's God backwards. Dog. Okay? Because dogs get us an unconditional love. And let me tell you something. I bottle fed 2 kittens from birth, and those little things, I was like, I'm not a cat person. I am not a cat person. But those little kittens saved my life. They teach me about love and taking care of something. And it's interesting because I had to put one down when it was a little over 6 years old. And that was one of the most challenging times in my sobriety. My heart was so broken that I left the vet and I immediately went to an AA meeting. And I just cried the whole entire meeting. Just cried. And it's interesting how sometimes God sends these little angels with 4 legs. See, I prayed to God. I wanted to have 6 kids. And I do have 6 kids. But I should have been more specific in my prayers because my 6 kids have 4 legs. They don't have 2 legs. It's like, hey, okay, God, they got to be specific in the prayers. And it's interesting because when I was 14 years sober, I thought I was teaching at Pacific Beach Middle School, and I thought I was going to retire there. And I got excessed. I got bumped by somebody who was only there for 3 years. And so I was devastated. And once again, suicidal. I didn't want to drink. I just want to die. But I know in order to die, I needed to drink, and I didn't want to drink. So what I did was I went to the counseling office to talk to a counselor. They weren't there, so I talked to the secretary. And let me tell you something. If you're an alcoholic like I am, do not share your thoughts with a normie. They do not get us, okay? So I went there, and I said, okay, here's what I do. I'm crying. I would drink, and then I drink some more, then I get in my car and drive up to the Coronado Bridge and jump off. And in the meantime, I'm just crying. I'm crying, getting all the stuff out. And I put the water on my face. I was ready to go back to teach my class. I went back to my office. There were 2 police officers waiting for me. This is at 14 years of sobriety, okay? So I walk in there, and they said, we need to take you somewhere, young lady. I went, thank God one of the police officers' husband was in NA. She totally understood. And I said, look, there's an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting right down the street. Why don't you take me there? 14 years of sobriety, I'm taken in a police car and dropped off at an